Hello everyone and welcome to the penultimate round of the 2010 GP4 Offline Championship. I'm George Roke and we are here for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix at the Yas Marina circuit where Florian Volker can take the title here at the Yas Marina circuit to make him get his first title of the series. So first of all, let's go through the career race rating. So that was an 8.9 out of 10. The driver of the day was, no surprise, Alex Southgate, who in fact actually got all the votes for driver of the day, which I don't know if that's actually ever happened before, but I don't believe it has. But anyway, so we go for the team news. So the team news for this week is that McLaren have signed Evan Byrne for 2011, a very interesting signing, personally quite a good signing for me. And Renault have kept Jay McKenzie and have signed George Roke for 2011, which was a surprise to a number of people in the paddock who suspected Roke may not be in a seat considering his horrendous season that he's had, but he has got the seat next year. He could probably count himself lucky, but he's got a seat nonetheless, so that means that Vinny Strackett is currently out of work. But anyway, here is the title fight, and here is what could happen and how Florian Volker can become world champion. So Volker just needs to finish in front of Willers to win, but James Willers has to finish on the podium and hope that Volker finishes outside of the points if he has any chance of winning the title. So he pretty much needs Volker to have, or to not finish in the points, but that probably won't happen. But if you look at all the scenarios on screen, if Florian fails to do any of those scenarios you see on the right of the screen, then Volker will become the 2010 champion. So this should be very interesting to see. So Willers pretty much essentially for this has to finish on the podium if he wants any chance of winning the title for next season. That is a must for him, but it just depends on what Florian Volker will do during the race and what will happen. So this is set to be a fascinating race at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. The overtaking will probably be quite tough around this track, but we never know. The race last year was not too bad. But anyway, here is the grid for the race. So Joseph Willows took pole position despite his engine actually going straight after he took his pole left, interestingly. Alex Southgate takes a very impressive second place for Mercedes with Will Nella in third, James Willows in fourth, Florian Volker fifth, and Roland Moitin popping up there for a very, very impressive sixth place for Force India. Seventh place is Miklos Gal, followed by also a very impressive performance by Viggo Holst for Sauber. Moving obviously to Force India for next season. Evan Byrne, who obviously will be moving to McLaren next season, which should be a very interesting lineup between him and Miklos Gal, with Jay McKenzie, who will be staying at Renault for next season, in 10th. 11th place is Vinny Strackett, at the moment without a seat for next season. In 12th place is Robert Ionescu for Toro Rosso. Obviously, he will be staying there for next season. 13th place is Wade Stewart, and 14th place is George Roke. Obviously, he will be moving to Renault next season. So that should be interesting to see. I mean, surely he has to have a better season than what he has had this year. 15th place is Alan Wolf, who will also stay at Williams. Amar Khan, who's had probably quite a disappointing season as well, but he will stay at Toro Rosso. He's in 16th. Felix Sontag, a poor qualifying from him, a very unusual for him, who I don't think this is definitely his worst qualifying of the season, in 17th. Sam Thompson, 18th. Michael Mocho is in 19th place. 20th place is Jordan Maturin. Not sure who's going to be at Lotus or Virgin yet for next year, but we will find out. And at the back of the grid is Kellyn Bryce and Roman Quag. So that is the grid for the race. And now we will head to the weather to see what the weather will be like for the Grand Prix. I expect what it's going to be, as we now have a look. And no surprise there, as you can see, it is completely dry for the race. No rain whatsoever, because we are racing in the UAE, for goodness sake. This is where we never get any rain. We've yet to have rain for any of the GP4 races so far and in real life, so I don't expect that's ever going to change. But anyway, moving on from that, we will now head to the grid where Volker can win his first world title. So we are now on the grid. So Joseph Willows is on pole position. Alex Southgate is in second. As the lights now come on, we have 3 lights, 4 lights, and we have 5 lights. And the lights are out, and away we go. And who is going to get a good start coming into turn 1? It looks like Southgate is going to stay in second, as Willows looks to have got the jump into turn 1. And has Willows got it? I think he has. And has he? Oh no, wait, Southgate's on the inside. Southgate has got the first place, and what a start by Southgate. He's taken the lead from Joseph Willows. I thought Willows had that going around the outside of turn 1, but he's lost the lead quite dramatically there. And Alex Southgate has made a great start and has taken the lead here, as Willows defends from his brother James. Or Joe defends from James, his brother, coming into the first chicane. Everyone seems to make their way through. Tracking in 10th, McKenzie 11th, Kuba 12th, Ionescu 13th, Roke 14th, Wolf 15th. As we go to the rest of the order, Sontag's moved up to 16th place, so that's a good start from him. As they all head around the hairpin, it seems like everyone has so far avoided contact as they head down towards the back straight. Along with Southgate, he's already got a 1.2 second lead. What a start Southgate has made, buoyed on from his win at the Korean Grand Prix last time out. So Joseph Willows heads second place into the right-hander, as now Moichin defending from Holst in 6th place as he moves up. They go to the Northern Country. Oh, and there's Evan Byrne, who's lost his rear wing. And oh, there was a salvo round, and there's another runner, that's Jay McKenzie. And Jay McKenzie's out of the race. And that's Jay McKenzie. Has anyone else got involved in it? I'm not sure. Obviously, there was a salvo involved, that was Strachan, but Jay McKenzie's out the race, so what's happened here? So let's go on board. So Evan Byrne got hit, looks like, by, I think it was Finley Strachan. So let's go on board with him, and the answer is yes, he was. He was just clouted into the back, and he actually nearly hit Nicholas Gow going around there. And oh, and McKenzie came clattering into Strachan there, but I think he got contact, did he? And yes, he is. There was clearly contact from behind, and that was the fourth senior of George Roque it was. So once again, George Roque proving that Renault could have signed a dud for next season. We don't know yet, but Roque just careers into the back of the Renault there of Jay McKenzie, who then gets hit in the front by Finley Strachan, which takes Jay McKenzie out the race, not the race that Jay McKenzie would have wanted, and he is out the Grand Prix. There's a wheel going around the corner. Here on board with Michael Mocha and all the cars trying to get through all the wheels and all the damaged cars. So Roque obviously will have to go in the pits. Strachan will have to go into the pits as Wolf goes round the outside of Roque there, coming down the support pit straight, going past the stadium, or the stands on the right. So Thompson goes into 16th as they head into the chicane, as there's McKenzie's car on the side of the track, as Nella is just moving his way up in 4th place. There's Holst, made an impressive start in 7th, right behind Moichin. Evan Byrne obviously dropping down the order, now he's lost his rear wing. As they come through, there's Amar Kar, who's in 11th, he's made a good start. Waze Cooper in 12th, and there's a car that I think it's gone slow. There's a car that's gone to the side of the track. Oh, it's Kenny Bryce! Kenny Bryce has now gone out of the race. What's happened to him? So it looks like he's got involved in a separate collision. So it looks like he was trying to overtake Roque, and oh my god! So it looks like he made an absolute dive bomb past Roque, and then he moved past, I think it was Mocho, past Quag, sorry, and then he just careered in the side of Mocho, who somehow got away with damage. Or was it Quag? No, actually it was Quag. So he dive bombed the inside of Roque. Mocho, actually there was contact between Mocho and Quag, which forced them into each other and forced them into maturing in front of them, and then Bryce hit the side of Quag's car, and Quag somehow managed to get away with damage there, but a really, really stupid move there from Kenny Bryce. He just needed to wait a few corners, and he would have got out of that okay, and he would have got past Rogue and everything, but that was really, really bad move from Bryce, who's not had the season that he would have wanted since coming back to the series after a 2-year absence. But anyway, as Felix Sontag is coming through, he's moved up all the way to 9th place from 16th, so he's made a great start. Now Viggo Holst trying to make a wheel on the inside. Roland Moichin coming to turn 1, and Moichin's gone wide as Holst made the mistake, and oh, Moichin has gone wide onto the AstroTurf, and he's got through, and Gall's got through into 7th place. Unfortunately for Moichin, he's been hung out to dry on the outside there as they come through turns 2, 3, and 4. So now here is Alex Sasuke in the lead. So now on lap 4, so here is a battle of 10th place between Amar Kar and Waze Kuba. Kuba, who started low down the field, hasn't really made a great recovery so far, but Kuba makes his move on the inside, down the back straight. And he moves his way past Amar Kar. And oh no, wait, maybe he's not. I just jinxed it right there. I thought he'd done it, and he's just completely overshot the next corner after the end of the back straight. He got around the left-hander, okay, he was on the inside, so I don't know how he did that. He must have got too much on the power there, and he looks like he went too much on the curves, which unsettled the car and forced him to go off track. So he's lost the place to Amar Kar as well, and oh, he's going to lose a place to Robert Ionescu as well in the other Toro Rosso. What a nightmare couple of corners that was for Kuba. Really, really stupid driving from him there. Now Kuba's trying to get back past Amar Kar just 4 laps later, and as they move on the inside, still side by side. Car's gone wide, and Ionescu's managed to catch up. Kuba's made the move on the inside, and Ionescu's now trying to slot past Car, but he can't quite do it. So they head through turn 2, 3. And as they now head into turn 4, so let's have a look. So obviously Carl was defending into turn 1. Kuba was on the inside, and he got a bit wide there. And Kuba did eventually make his way past as he got into turn 3, as it was the fast left-hander. And then going into turn 3, the fast right-hander, as they now headed into the chicane for the first time. And now Waze Kuba is now already caught up to Roland Moichin in 8th place. Moichin, who's fell back after being in 6th place, so it's not been a great start for him, but he's going to drop back, and Kuba's going to make him on the inside, and Sontag is being overtaken, I believe, by Amar Kar as well, and has Kar made the move stick on Sontag, and yes he has, and now Ionescu's going to have the chance in a minute, and now here comes Viggo Holst for Sauber into the pits. Holst, who will go obviously to Force India 4 next season. Holst, who's had a pretty decent season for Sauber, he's certainly done better than his teammate Finley Strachan, although Strachan has been one of those drivers to have known to have had a lot of bad luck throughout the season, but anyway, he comes out of the pits. 6.5 second stop from the Sauber crew. And where will he come out? He'll come out obviously down in the middle of the pack. And right at the back he'll come out, looks like, in 14th place. Actually, oh no, 15th in fact. So let's see how much that will affect him coming out the pits. As Holst comes out, so he'll come out behind Jordan Maturin. Here's Rella Moyton and Amar Kar battling, and Moyton's gone wide into turn 1, and he's made the move stick, and now Sontag is going to make the move stick, and he moves up to 9th, so Moyton's once again been hung out to dry at turn 1, and Ionescu's got past as well, so Moyton has lost 3 places in one corner. He could lose 4 in a minute if Sam Thompson's behind him, but as we know, we look at the replay, now Thompson is trying to go past Moyton, coming into the hairpin of the back straight, and as he made the move stick side by side, and Thompson, I don't think he's got it done, Moyton runs wide into the right-hander. Has he done it now? It doesn't look like he has, but Thompson's gone around the outside as Moyton's gone wide, and surely Thompson's made the move stick now, but it depends on the straight line speed of the Williams coming down the support pit straight, as Moyton's still on the inside, so he'll have the inside for the left-hander side by side between these two, and Moyton's surely going to get it done. And the answer is yes, he does. He makes the move into the left-hander, coming into the next little chicane. As now into the pits is James Willows for Red Bull. So as you said, Willows has to get a podium at all costs. Well, he needs to win really at all costs, but a podium for him still is absolutely vital. Anything other than that will be failure. As for Volker, as long as he even just finishes in the points, will win the title if Willows doesn't finish on the podium. But anyway, Willows comes out the pits at 7.1 second stop. He'll come out, looks like, just inside the points. He'll come out in 8th place, so he comes out behind Amar Kar in the sister Toro Rosso. Now here we are on board. I believe this is with Finlay Strachan at the back, who's trying to recover after that first lap collision with Mackenzie, and well, with Ed Byrne really, but also with Mackenzie, pretty much being involved in with both Renaults, as that is in fact not Finlay Strachan, that is in fact Viggo Holst, who goes past Maturin coming onto the back straight. Is now into the pits for the first time. It comes Alex Southgate. As now there's a yellow flag come out. Looks like at the end of the straight. And Rella Moyton is retired from the race. Rella Moyton is out for Force India. So that is his race over and done with. So what has happened to him? But Southgate is coming to the pits. And looks like there was a Williams involved in that. I couldn't quite see who it was. It switched camera very quickly there, but it looks like a Williams has been involved. But Southgate comes into the pits. So it'll be interesting to see if McLaren will try and result to this. Will McLaren try and overcut Southgate coming out of the pit? So that will be very, very interesting to see. But Southgate, who's currently done an 8.2 second stop, quite a slow stop there actually from the Mercedes crew compared to the pit stops we've seen so far, although there haven't been many, but compared to what we've seen, it could be better. But anyway, Southgate, who's done an 8.2 second stop as he comes out of the pits, which goes under the track, as he looks like he's going to come out behind Mikolas Gauss. Amar Kar is in the background, is in the pits as well. So what happened with Rella Moyton? That is the big question. So let's go and vote in. Oh, Moyton, he's gone well off down the hairpin. So it must have been contact from Thompson, and it was. And oh well, Moyton locked up going into the hairpin, but then Thompson just absolutely clouted into the back of him. But I mean, I think Thompson really had a lot of time to see. He probably would have seen that Moyton locked up, but he still didn't slow down really, Thompson. He had plenty of time to overtake him as Moyton locked up. So I mean, I'd probably say that's probably Sam Thompson's fault, although it was a mistake by Moyton at first. I still think that could have been an avoidable collision there. So we'll see what the stewards give to Thompson at the end of the race, but that will ruin his chances of points. So now he'll have to go into the pits as he does so. So Southgate comes out in 6th place. He'll come up behind Mikolas Gauss. So that'll be interesting to see. He's got clear air, so he should stay in front of Joseph Willows. As Mocho, he goes very wide coming into the pits. He almost hits the wall there, coming in behind Sam Thompson, who's pitting obviously for a new front wing after that collision with Moyton. But as I was saying, the stewards will decide on that at the end of the race. And oh no, it's a double stack here for Williams, and they're changing the front wing of Adam Wolff as well, as Wolff comes out the pits. I don't remember Wolff being in a collision there, but they've had to double stack there, and so now Thompson's going to have to wait for his mechanics to come back out. That has absolutely cost him the race or any chance of a somewhat decent results. And well, that is very, very disappointing for Sam Thompson, but as I said, the incident was probably avoidable, but nothing you can do about that. But unfortunately for the crew, he's now had to wait over 40 seconds for his crew to come into the pits, and now they finally come out, and now he can finally change his front wing, although it doesn't look like the crew are changing it, but I imagine they probably have. As Thompson comes out the pits, I believe he has changed the front. Well, it didn't look like he has, but he probably has, but I don't know what's going on there. But because I mean, Wolff came into the pits. I don't believe Wolff actually had a collision or anything, did he? It doesn't look like it, so I don't really know what the Williams team were doing there, unless they felt that the wing had come loose of something. But you can see here that the wing is still intact. So very interesting Very interesting strategy there from the Williams pit crew, but yeah, I don't really know what to say about that. But well, Wolf, as you can see coming into the pits on the replay, so bit of a bizarre incident there for the Williams crew. I don't really know what they're thinking. Maybe it's the heat, even though we're at night. It's still at least 30 degrees here in Abu Dhabi at night, so that was a bit of a weird move there from the Williams crew. But hey, I mean, they're experienced crew members, so they should know what they're doing. But sometimes they have their off moments. So Adam Wolf comes out, so that was quite bizarre. And Waze Cooper has come into the pit. Not Waze Cooper, sorry. Will Neller has come into the pits for Ferrari. He's done a oh no, they've double stacked again for Ferrari, and now Cooper's going to have to wait for his crew to come in. So it looks like Ferrari have now made a horrendous strategic error, like they did at Monaco in real life. And unfortunately, they stuffed up Waze Cooper here. He's had to wait for his crew to come in, so that will cost him quite a few positions, I imagine. I think he was just around inside the points, so now he'll most likely be outside of the points, as we had a yellow flag. Oh, that was Michael Mocho who spun, it looks like, at the end of the support pit straight. I know, it was another collision with his teammates, so they were battling here. And then Mocho I think he just ran to the back of him there. I think that's it. That's the only thing you could say about that. So Quag got away unscathed from that, but Mocho spun there, so I don't imagine Mocho getting a seat much higher than Lotus, if anything, next season, really. But anyway, as we look at Mr. But here is Joseph Willow into the pits. Now, this is going to be very, very interesting indeed. So Willow's obviously pitted 3 laps later than Alex Southgate did. So will Joseph Willows will he get ahead of Southgate? That would be interesting to see. Or will Southgate have got ahead? Because Willows stayed out for a few more laps than Southgate did. So I don't know if that will give him any advantage, because he wasn't too far behind Southgate coming into the pits. Let's see what happens. So as he comes down, as they go under the track for this very unique pit exit. So Joseph Willows comes out of the pits. He's currently P1. I imagine he might drop a couple of positions if cars haven't come into the pits. But Miklos Gao is currently in second place. But is he going to go past him? I'm not sure. Joseph Willows comes out on track, and I can't see Southgate anywhere. And there is Southgate. And Joseph Willows has just come out in front of Southgate. That is crucial for the race. And Miklos Gao was just in front of him. And that is fantastic news for Joseph Willows. Miklos Gao could now act as a barrier to keep Southgate behind. So that was fantastic work there from McLaren. They actually got their strategy right this time. They kept out Willows longer than Southgate, and that's paid dividends. And now Gal's actually trying to make a move on Willows, but obviously he's just probably teasing him there, because he'll need to keep Southgate behind for as long as possible so Joseph Willows can get away. But that worked out very, very well for McLaren in the end, and Willows is getting past Gal for first place as they come into the hairpin. So Joseph Willows is going to take the lead. So Gal nearly had an impact there of Southgate getting in front, but fortunately he didn't. And so Joseph Willows has got the lead, going to be crucial for this race. So now here is a battle between the two Lotuses of Mocho and Roman Quag. So Mocho in 17th place and Roman Quag in 16th. So Mocho's going to try and make a move coming down the back straight. Two Lotuses battling for 16th. We don't usually see this on the highlights, but this is the GP4 offline championship, so anything can happen. As Mocho is about to come into the hairpin, and he's going to make the move stick, and yes, he does. The break's quite late, but he makes the move stick nonetheless. Moves up into 16th place. Striking till behind in 18th. As now here we are on board with Alex Southgate, who actually is still stuck behind Willows, and Willows has absolutely flown away at the moment. He's flown away in first place. He's already 4 seconds ahead, but now Southgate has finally got past. So Gal has done Joseph Willows a massive favour there, and now James Willows, Joseph's brother, as Gal goes wide there and has to concede the position to James Willows. But Gal's done all he can to help his teammate, and that's what I imagine that Willows will thank him in the end if he does win this race. So obviously, as you can see, Southgate was on the inside coming into the hairpin, and Gal went a bit wide there. He actually went offline, and then that allowed James Willows to get past as well. So that's not good for them, and that's not good for Southgate either, because now James Willows could have a chance of a podium, which he really needs, because he is on the podium at the moment. But he could need it. Now Will Neller's right behind Miklos Gal, so Gal maybe needs to make a stop soon if he doesn't want to keep dropping like a stone. As Will Neller's going to try and move on the outside coming down the support pit straight, but he can't make the move stick. Will he try to switch over? No, he can't. He stays behind Gal as they come into the chicane. The right, left, and now they head into the left hand before they head towards the very fancy Yas Marina Hotel. As Southgate in second place needs to catch up to Willows if he can. So now here is the battle. I think, continuing on between Will Neller and Miklos Gal. But Neller has got the slipstream coming onto the pit straight. Surely he's going to make a move coming down the straight, and it's side by side, but is Nella actually going to go down the outside of Gal, coming into the hairpin, and it looks like he is, and I imagine he has the speed, and will Gal fight, or will he not? And no, he doesn't. He stays behind, he actually locks up there, but Will Nella gets in front, so a good move there by the Englishman, and now James Willers comes in for his second stop at the race, so it looks like he will be doing a 3-stop, so it'll be interesting to see what works, a 3-stop or a 2-stop. So he comes into the pits for the second time. So it'll be interesting to see come the end of the race if that will work. We haven't seen much of Volker at the moment in this race, but at the moment he is doing enough to win the championship as far as I believe, as well as pitting from 3rd place, as he will come out 7.76 stop from the Red Bull crew. So James Williams, if he does win the championship, which is not looking likely at the moment, he will become, I think, the Willows will become the first brothers to win the championship, or both Joseph and James, with obviously Joseph Willows winning in 2006 and of course 2008, as Miklos Gal now comes out of the pits from P7. So Gal obviously finally did pit in the end after holding up Saki, which allowed Joseph Willows to get away, and that might have won in the race come the end, depending on if Joseph Willows' car doesn't break down, because as I said on the grid, his car after setting his pole lap, it actually broke down, suffered a water leak and broke down coming down the back straight, which is quite funny, because I mean three of his retirements have been mechanical problems. Here we're on board with George Rowe in 16th place coming into the chicane, and he comes around the second part of it, and he's just gone straight into the barrier there, and that just sums up George Rowe's season. A little petty off into the barrier there, loses his front left wheel, and that has ended George Rowe's race. He'll be so glad that the season will be over. He'll be so glad to get out the Force India car. It's cursed, that car, but he'll be happy to get back in the Renault with his old teammate Jay McKenzie. But anyway, as we are looking at I believe this is Waze Kuba, or is this Will Nello? It might be Will Nello who's behind. I believe it's James Willows. But actually, no, I believe it is Waze Kuba. He is behind Florian Volker for 4th place. At the moment, Volker is in 4th place, and at this moment in time, if the race was to finish as it was, then Volker would win the championship. And there's a lock up there, and Kuba's gone around the outside, and he's absolutely sold Volker for one there. What a move that was by Waze Kuba. I did not see that coming, and even though it was a lock up from Volker, Kuba must have braked exceptionally late to make that move. My goodness me. Let's have a look at that again. So Volker, he looked to be so far away, Kuba, and he locked up coming into the hairpin, but Kuba just went right round the outside. That's definitely one of the overtakes this season that we've seen so far. I imagine it'll probably be hard to beat that one. But wow, so let's have a look on board with Kuba. So I mean, Volker locked up, but he's still at the inside line with the hairpin, but Kuba managed to just go right round the outside and hold it on the marbles, and he made the move stick. So that was a fantastic move there from Waze Kuba. I don't know if that will still impact the championship though, but it does have an impact at the moment. It gives James Willows a slight chance of catching up in the standings, but still it won't be enough for him at the moment. So here is Miklos Gal trying to get past the Toro Rosso, I believe, of Armar car. As he's coming down the straight, he's right behind him, and this is to get Gal into the points, this is. And he's going on the inside of the car, coming into the hairpin. It's side by side, and Gal has surely got the move done into the hairpin, and yes, he does. That is a 8th place for Miklos Gal. His car goes wide coming out the hairpin there. That will give Felix Sontag a chance to catch up, and car goes wide again. He goes over the curbs. That will, as I said, give Sontag a chance to catch up behind. So now here is a battle, it looks like between, is this the two Red Bulls? I believe it is. So this is Volker, who I believe has caught up to James Willows in front of him. This will be not good for the championship for Willows, as now Volker's going to make a move on the inside of him, coming into the hairpin. Will Willows defend? He still wants to win this title, even though they are teammates. But Volker makes the move on the inside of Willows, coming into the hairpin, as in fact it was James Willows making a move on Volker, I should say. But at the moment in time, it still won't matter, because Volker will win the championship, because Willows still needs to get on the podium. So at the moment, it really doesn't matter. Volker just, I think, let him through. Didn't put up a fight, which is a good reason, because obviously he just needs to finish this race in the points and hope that Willows doesn't get on the podium. As speaking of Willows, Joseph Willows comes into the pits for his second stop, I believe, of the race. I'm pretty certain that is his second stop. So he comes into the pits. Let's see where he will come out. 7.76 stop, and Ferrari are in the pits for one of their drives. Let's see if it will be Will Nella or Waze Kuba. And obviously, it should be mentioned as well, this is unfortunately Will Nella's penultimate race in the GP4 OC. He's currently in the IndyCar OC, where he will be staying there for the time being, as it is in fact Will Nella that has come into the pits. So let's see where he will come out. Let's see how quick the stop will be from the Ferrari pit crew. And it is a 7.7 second stop, so not bad there from the Ferrari crew. I mean, it could have been better, but it could have been worse. But anyway, Will Miller comes out 7.7 seconds. Let's see where he'll come out. He's dropped down to 4th place. As he comes down and begins to go under the track. And he comes out, so he's dropped down to 5th place at the moment. And it looks like the fuel will probably just about get into the end of the race, because I don't imagine that fuel bug that happened at last year's event will happen again. So Will Miller comes out, and now Alex Southgate from 2nd place comes in to the pits. So I don't imagine that he'll jump Joseph Willis unless he's had a miracle, unless Joseph made a mistake. And you can see Joseph Willis has already gone past, so my goodness, Joseph Willis has got an absolutely humongous lead at the front. Oh my goodness me. So Southgate comes out. Looks like he'll have to settle for 2nd place today, but he'll still be very happy with that after Korea. And so let's see where he will come out on track. But it looks like at the moment, overall, 2nd place is looking very good for him. As he comes out in, is it going to be 4th place or is it going to be 5th? I'm not quite sure yet. So let's see. And he comes out in 4th, so he'll come up behind James Willows. Will he come out in any traffic? That'll be interesting to see. He just comes out actually in front of Will Miller. That was very, very close, as Viggo Holst is now in the pits for Sauber. So let's see where he comes out. We haven't actually seen Holst throughout the race really that much, but and so here, let's see where he will come out in relation to everyone else on the track. And he looks like he's going to come out outside of the points in P9 as we look through the order. So we look at Amar Khan, 11th place for Toro Rosso. So we're looking at a replay, so I don't know, has something happened to Amar Khan? We're not sure. So we're going back quite a long time here, so something must have happened to Carr, as we're obviously going backwards here. And oh, it looks like there is. So he actually Amar Khan, so he looks like he was getting overtaken by Robert Ionescu, his teammate, coming down the back straight. And so Ionescu made the mistake coming into the hairpin. So it looks like Amar went wide as we had a look at the replay. And in fact he did. So he did go wide. And did he do the same thing he did earlier on? So actually no, Sontag was on the inside. But yes, he did. He actually went wide onto the curbs and allowed Felix Sontag to go past on the outside. And allowed him to make it through. So now into the pits comes James Willis for his final stop of the race. This will obviously fuel him to the end. So Volker's obviously behind him in 6th, but that won't matter at this moment in time. As Willows is currently P5, as now, oh, Volker's coming to the pits. Florian Volker is coming to the pits behind James Willows. Is this some kind of plot by Red Bull here? What's going on? And so Volker is coming to the pits on the same lap of James Willows. It sounds like a conspiracy there. I don't know what anyone else thinks, but it does sound like a conspiracy considering this is the title fight. But Florian Volker has come into the pits at the same time as crew haven't been ready for him. Obviously, it's quite reminiscent of Monaco 2016 with Daniel Ricciardo and his team not being ready for him. But so a 22.4 second stop, that is not good for Volker as he comes out in 8th place. But it'll probably be lower as Robert Ionescu actually just comes in behind for Toro Rosso. So let's see where he will come out. So at the moment, Volker actually comes out out of the points. So, but at the moment in time, that won't matter as long as James Williams is not on the podium. So it's not a huge worry for Volker yet. But if James Williams is on the podium, then that means the title will go to Brazil the next round and the final round of the series. So Volker comes out in 9th. There's now Amar Khan's made. Oh, he's made contact with the version of, I believe, that Jordan Maturin, and Felix Sontag has just gone into his side pod. You can see, oh, and there was a nice little flick up there by Sontag, probably annoyed about what happened there, but I mean that wasn't really Carr's fault. But so let's see what happens. I mean, there was contact by Carr, and unfortunately Felix Sontag just came around. He had nowhere to go, and he damaged his front wing. And actually, Carr, I believe, he can probably still continue coming back on track, even though he's lost half his side pod. But I mean, I imagine that'll probably make an impact with regards to his downforce. But anyway, as we now here on the last lap, so here is your current race leader, Joseph Willows, in this race on the last lap. He's coming around the hairpin as he comes onto the back straight, as he is led the race from the start. As he's coming down the back straight heading into the hairpin, he's had a torrid run with retiring from the last 5 races in a row, and had he retired from this race, it would have been a record for this series, but he hasn't, unless, well, I shouldn't probably have said that because I might have just jinxed it right there, but we never know. But Joseph Willers currently leading this race, and at the moment, James Willers is only in 5th place. So Volker will be the world champion unless James Willers can get past both Ferraris, because you can see on the bottom of your screen, Volker is in 8th place. So he's in the points, which means that at this moment in time, Volker will be champion, as Joseph Willers is coming round the chicane. And Joseph Willers has had a torrid season pretty much from those 5 mechanical. Well, from not 5 mechanical, 3 of them were mechanical. From those 5 retirements in a row, he must have thought his season was a disaster, but at least this will give him a little bit of a bonus, winning in Abu Dhabi, one of the most prestigious races of the season. He has won once this season, and that was at the German Grand Prix. And Joseph Willers, he lost the lead at the start, but he took it back from Alex Southgate after the first day at pit stop and that was very close, by the very closest of margins, but that was all the difference he made. He's got a huge lead over Southgate as Joseph Willers comes around the final corner, and Joseph Willers is going to win the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix to take his 2nd victory of the season, just exactly what he needed after a run of 5 retirements in a row, and he wins the Grand Prix, so well done to him. As Amar Khan comes around and he'll take 10th place, so he'll still finish at least in the top 10, but no points for him, as now the Lotus of Jordan Maturin takes actually a pretty impressive 11th, to be fair. So well done for Maturin. We hadn't actually seen much of him all race. Alex Southgate is about to come around the final corner. The gap that Joseph Willers had was absolutely astonishing. He had some amazing pace after the stop where he got after the first stop when he got ahead of Southgate. But he comes over P2. He'll be very happy with that, 1st and a 2nd. As Will Neller comes round into 3rd place. And that is very crucial for the championship. So Will Neller comes round in 3rd as Roman Quagg is coming across the line in 18th place. So it doesn't matter now, even if Willers gets past Kuba, it looks like Volker is the champion unless Volker retires. But I don't think that will still matter still. But Waze Kuba comes home in 4th place, as Felix Sonic set to come home in 14th. And there is James Willers. He's going to come home in 5th place. So it looks like that Florian Volker will be the 2010 champion as Miklos Gau comes home for 6th place. So we are now officially awaiting Volker to come across the finish line to confirm it fully. But I think we all know that it is happened, as now here is Florian Volker as Viggo Hoss set to come home in 7th place. Florian Volker is coming round the final corner. He may not have had the best of races, but it doesn't matter. Florian Volker comes round the final corner, and Florian Volker is your 2010 GP4 offline champion. Congratulations to him, and there it is. Florian Volker is your champion. What a season he's had. He was so consistent this season, and that's what has mainly won in the championship. And he comes around as the Lotus very rudely goes past him there. But there it is. Florian Volker, the German driver, will be the champion. He'll be delighted with that, and he'll delight the whole of Germany with that. He'll be having a lot of partying throughout the night. But what an absolutely unbelievable race that was. A lot better than I thought it might be. But Florian Volker drove the race. It wasn't perfect, but he did what he needed to do. He finished in the points. James Willers couldn't do enough. He couldn't get past the 2 Ferraris. It looked like maybe a bit of a plot to make it the series go to Brazil, but it didn't matter in the end. And here is your final race results, with Joseph Willers winning, with Alex Southgate 2nd, Will Neller 3rd, Waze Kuba 4th, James Willers unfortunately in 5th, Miklos Gau 6th, Holst 7th, and Volker 8th, with Robert Ionescu finishing in 9th, with the following drivers all being lapped down: Carr in 10th, Maturin 11th, Wolf 12th, Striker 13th, Sontag 14th, Byrne 15th, Mocho 16th, Thompson 17th, Quagg 18th, with Broke, Moyton, Bryce, and McKenzie all not finishing from this race. So we will now look at the fastest lap. So Waze Kuba actually set the fastest lap. Almost half a second quicker than Joseph Willers there. Quite an absurd lap there. Joseph Willers 2nd, Southgate 3rd, Thompson 4th. Very impressive pace from him. Will Neller 5th, Strachan 6th, James Willers 7th, Sontag 8th, Volker 9th, Carr 10th, Broke 11th, Byrne 12th, Holst 13th, Ionescu 14th, Gal 15th, Maturin 16th, Mocho 17th. In 18th place is Adam Wolf, 19th place is Boychin, 20th place is Roman Quagg, and 21st and 22nd is Mackenzie and Bryce, who did not set a lap after getting involved in collisions on the first lap. But here are your championship standings. So Volker wins the championship with 109 points, with Willows 96 points, I should say, 30 points behind, meaning he cannot win the title next time out in Brazil. Will Neller is 3rd on 76, or 78 I should say. Miklos Gau 4th with 75. Kuba 5th with 71, so they still could be about for 3rd place there. Joseph Willers 6th with 54. Southgate 7th with 43. Sontag with 42. Byrne 28. McKenzie 24. Moychin 17. Thompson 14. Wolf 11. Strachan 11. Holst 11. All on 11 points there. Roke 6. Mocho 4. Carr 4. Robert Ionescu 3. Maturin on 1 point, with Quagg and Bryce the only 2 drivers so far in the season yet to score any points. So obviously the second place is out the bag, so James Williams will take second place, which means a Red Bull 1-2, but there will be a battle between the two Ferraris and Michael Scal for third place in the championship next time out in Brazil, so that should be very interesting to see. And also maybe a battle of seventh between Sontag and Southgate, the two Mercedes drivers, so that should be very interesting to see indeed. As we now have a look at the constructor standings, so Red Bull are championship with 205 points, Ferrari second with 149, with McLaren 20 points behind, so they could. But actually, well, no, it's actually not possible for Ferrari to be beaten by McLaren, actually. So McLaren will stay in third. Mercedes in fourth, they will not be beaten. Renault in fifth, they will stay fifth. Williams in sixth. Force India seventh. Sauber eighth, so there could be about sixth there in the constructors' standings, so that'd be interesting to see. Toro Rosso in ninth. Lotus in 10th, and Virgin 11th with 1 point, with all teams having scored a point so far this season. And obviously, there was a penalty in the fact of Santos after that collision with Roland Moitin, but he got a 25-second penalty, but that did not make a difference to his position. Well, that has been the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and we have a new champion in the GP4 Offline Championship, Florian Volker. Congratulations to him, as I said once again. I hope you guys enjoyed the race as much as I did. Don't forget to vote for your driver of the day and give the race a rating out of 10. So thank you very much for watching, guys, and we will see you for the next round of the season, the final round, round 19, the Brazilian Grand Prix at the infamous and famous Interlagos circuit. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you there.